has expired. I recognize the ranking member, Ms. Lee, for 5 minutes for questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think we need to be real about the goals of this administration's radical and cruel immigration plans. It was shocking to hear during the hearing last week, Republicans truly believe no one is calling for mass deportation, that only criminals are being targeted by ICE. But we know that this is simply not the case. In fact, Trump's so-called border czar, Tom Homan, has vowed that the Trump administration will apply shock and awe tactics to its immigration enforcement and will carry out the biggest deportation operation this country has ever seen. ICE's own statistics show that the number of immigrants detained without criminal records rose by 334% from mid-January to late February. That's about a month. Within the group of immigrants cruelly sent to Guantanamo Bay, 51 had no criminal record at all. Trump and Republicans want you to think all immigrants are criminal and therefore they should all be deported. But the reality is that immigrants are significantly less likely to commit crimes than those born in the U.S. So now we're seeing some Republican-led states make their own, the very existence of these folks the crime. Sheriff Gualtieri, yes or no, Florida recently passed a law that makes it a crime for adults to enter Florida after entering the country without legal status.
That's true.
You also have worked closely with the Trump administration to expand cooperation between your officers and ICE agents, correct?
Yes.
In fact, one of the other portions of these sweeping immigration changes in Florida also includes bonuses to incentivize officers to work with ICE, correct?
There is a provision in the recent law to compensate them, yes.
Thank you. So to recap, Florida has passed laws that target all undocumented adults, slaps them with a crime for merely entering Florida, and then offer law enforcement more money to ship them off to ICE custody. That seems like a lot of mass deportation to me. Judge Doyle, it's fair to say you have a lot of experience in immigration law, from private practice to DHS to ICE, and then as an appointed immigration judge. Does this kind of heavy-handed enforcement make our community safer, in your opinion?
Absolutely not. Ranking Member Lee, as I discussed, a number of our cities are, in fact, perfect examples of what trust can build, what community policing can build, which is the safest big city in the country.
Does allowing ICE to enter schools, churches, and hospitals make our community safer?
Absolutely does not. As I mentioned, and to quote Mayor Wu, a scared city is not a safe city.
From your experience, what approaches to community safety have worked, especially those with immigrant populations?
As I mentioned, community policing is really the cornerstone of a safe city, and that requires trust between police and the people with which they work in the community. It allows people comfortable to come forward and report crimes and work with the police to eradicate crime and harm in the communities.
Just last week, Republicans paraded the Boston mayor out here for her city's policies, as we've heard. But Mayor Wu made it clear that Boston has lower crime and is a safer city compared to many Republican districts. Unfortunately, facts and data just are not on your side. We need proactive investment and support for our communities. Parents should not have to live in fear that taking their child to school or to the doctor will result in their arrest or deportation. It is simply un-American to turn these essential places into symbols of fears as targets of extreme immigration enforcement. While Trump and his Republican cronies are fear-mongering with their claims of crime, drugs, cartels, it's all too clear that their mass deportation agenda extends to millions of our loved ones, neighbors, and coworkers who have never committed crimes. None of these policies will strengthen or help our communities. The only people who seem to be benefiting, besides the talking heads at Fox News, are the billionaires running the private prisoners. For them, it's good business to detain people. In addition to the GO Group reopening a detention facility in New Jersey, it was announced last week that Core Civic is reopening the South Texas Family Residential Center in Dilley, Texas, to hold immigrant families. Yes, that includes children. The center can hold up to 2,400 people, making it one of ICE's largest detention centers. Core Civic alone stands to make $180 million on this deal. That's taxpayer dollars going to billion-dollar corporations to detain families and children rather than being invested into your communities. And you can bet that the priority for these private corporations will be making a profit, not treating immigrants humanely or responsibly. Maybe Doge and Elon should or could set their sights on these private prisons rather than on your Medicaid and your Social Security. Cruelty is the point, and protecting people is simply not a priority for this administration. Our communities deserve investments and support, not terror in their safe spaces. I yield back. Thank you.